We'll get started right about nowish. We're live with another episode of BS Busters. I'm joined by Kanoshi. Go ahead, Kanoshi. Introduce yourself.
It's Kenoshi Abominito. Welcome to the Crow Buffet, where all we sell is crow and humble pie.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, okay. So we have a decent amount of topics tonight. I believe five. We're going to be covering our thoughts on the Pokemon Company and Nintendo finally admitting that Scarlet and Violet had issues at launch. We'll ask the question: does anyone give a shit about the VGAs really? JRPGs with unusual leveling systems. Bethesda's ZeniMax Studios, their Q&A workers have voted to uh, unionize. And Yuji Naka done fucked up again. He's been arrested a second time for insider trading. Oh,
Um,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
even worse now.
Well,
It's
I
even
mean,
more
it's the
more.
same thing, but he got caught. Well, here's the thing. He hasn't been charged. I mean, he's been charged, and you're guilty. You're innocent until proven guilty. I think they have that also in Japan. So until he's been convicted, he's just been charged with it. But to be charged for the same thing twice, with two different crimes, is not good. And finally, we'll round it out with our unpopular opinions and pivot onto our platform. So I guess we'll get started with Nintendo finally admitting that Scarlet and Violet have some major issues. So let me just copy this and let's see here. Mm, mm, mm. So, as we all know, the Pokemon Company has been Scarlet and Violet has been a dumpster fire of a game. Uh, when it came out, it was a buggy, glitchy mess. Um, Now we don't know what they're going to be fixing with this first patch. Uh, and they didn't even really talk about the major amounts of issues, glitches, bugs, everything like that. They just were like, "Oh, we got to fix it eventually." So, the here's what they said they're fixing specifically with this first patch. Season 1 of ranked battles. So they're fixing the battles. They're fixing an issue that has been fixed that caused the music to not play correctly during the battle with the Elite Four and the top champion in the Victory Road path. And finally, other select bug fixes have been made. This is just a highlight of the uh, lack of transparency with their customer base that they've been having.
Yeah.
Um, like, people would have a lot more faith in them fixing this shit if they were just honest and said, look, the game came out in a state that it shouldn't have come out in. We are going to fix it. This first patch is going to fix these issues right here as best we can. We will continue to fix this until it's more in a more stable position. That's it. That's all they had to say. Why are they trying to save face? There's no face to save. You can go look up the fucking videos of people how broken this game was at launch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It was pretty. It was pretty. You had people falling through the floor. You had weird texture pop outs, pop ins with
the
a
textures
myriad
you
of
could
different.
forgive. It's the game breaking glitches. It's people disappearing through the floor and falling eternally until you had to reset the game. Because that's game
I'm
breaking.
talking when I say like texture popping, like you're just like losing entire visuals. Like it turns into like It's kind of hard to explain. It's something you would have to see, but
Yeah.
um, and obviously the floor stuff. That's and that's pretty unforgivable. It's actually dropped.
Yep.
The Metacritic score has dropped significantly to the point where
It should have.
it's now on par with Sonic on Sonic Frontier.
It should have. My problem with all these is that they've always upped this shit. Like a lot of Metacritic scores are overinflated because the only people who vote are fans. Um, Someone in the comment section of this thing said, "Boy, am I glad they fixed the music not playing, seeing as the game has no other more taxing issues that need fixing."
Yeah.
Let's see, and we have an apologist here. Historically, Pokemon games have often had severe performance issues that go unaddressed. Game Freak will probably patch out the worst bugs, but I would expect any major across the board performance improvements. Yeah, because none of you fuckers ever, hold these fucking companies accountable. You just accept it. Well, there's a major bug, but if you just play it a certain way, you can play it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're always gonna have your apologists.
It's like, oh, it's like a woman. Oh yeah, my boyfriend beats me, but he's only broken my arm like once.
Yeah.
It's like goddamn, you will make an excuse for any goddamn thing. Any other thoughts you have before we move on to the next topic?
Um, Fix your game. That's it. Like these companies need to quit releasing these half-baked products.
Yeah, I agree. Next, as a lighter tone, JRPGs that have a lighter, that do not have traditional level up systems. These are 8 JRPGs that uh, don't have traditional level up systems. So, number 8, Final Fantasy 2. Um, you leveled up based on what your character did. So, um, essentially speaking, if you equipped a character with 2 shields, their defense would go up. If you equipped them with 2 swords, their sword abilities would go up. If you equipped them with 2 staffs, their staff ability would go up. If you just had them punching people, over time their barehanded attack would go up. So essentially, it was incredibly broken because if you wanted to in the game, you could essentially get into a fight, kill every enemy except the last one, and have everyone attack themselves and heal themselves, and boost their attack and healing ability early on in the game, and then just roll over everything else as the game went along. It was kind of an interesting concept, but a little on the easily abused side, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Then we have number 7, which is Saga, the Scarlet Grace game. Um, like the previous game, Final Fantasy 2, you kind of leveled up by doing things, and new skills and abilities were gotten through combat. So, like, let's say your character took a damaging attack and left them almost dead. There was a chance that with their next attack, they would have a flash inspiration and do like a desperation attack that was insanely powerful, and you learn that cool attack. The only downside is if that attack didn't kill off the enemy who did that to you and you died, you would have to start all the way back in town and lose half your money. Uh, or maybe I think this was the game where if you died, you just died. But the cool thing was that you were encouraged to always like play New Game Plus and advance those abilities. So it was kind of nice. Then we have Code Vein, which was the vampire game. So you learn new abilities by equipping different job classes. So I guess that's cool.
Yeah.
Chrono Cross. Fucking hell. I hate this game so much. Chrono Cross is basically so characters receive stat increases from successful battles based on a player's overall progression through the game's main story. So essentially, the further you got along in the game, um, like you would get a cap on how far you could level up a character, which kind of sucks. That's a stupid gameplay mechanic. Half Minute Hero. Uh, it's a game where essentially you only have 30 seconds to beat the game. So it's essentially you're constantly dying and coming back. The cool thing is that you could find permanent upgrades which would persist throughout various other characters. So essentially, it was like a series of failing over and over again with minor incremental, uh, player based experiment, ex, ex, experiential growth,
Experimental.
experiential
Experiential.
growth for you as the player, not the NPC you're controlling, not the player character you're controlling, which would culminate with you like finding armor that would give you a boost, like a 30% boost to your health and shit like that. I've always seen this game on sale. I never wanted to play it because I was like, the idea of playing an RPG that I only have 30 seconds to get a certain level doesn't appeal to me,
Yeah.
but I know some people really love that game. Unlimited Saga. This sounds obtuse as fuck. Basically, you have growth panels, which by essentially completing certain side quests and stuff like that, you would get a boost to your stats, which sounds cool, but it just seems like there's a lot of shit going on there. Resonance of Fate. This is that JRPG where you shoot people and shit with
Yeah.
guns.
Yeah.
I always thought it was an ugly ass game. I have it on PC. I have it on PC. It was from Sega.
Yeah.
And so basically, it comes down to how powerful your guns, your weapons, your equipment is, not how high your level is. Your level only increased your HP, not actual how much damage you did and shit like that. So it was kind of interesting. Finally, Final Fantasy X. We all are aware of that system where you had the sphere system, the sphere grid, and all that shit. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but some people were. Uh, enough said. Is there any RPG that you played that had an interesting leveling up system where you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. I like it.
I'm surprised they didn't mention Final Fantasy X with its sphere grid because it's
They
not just.
did. I just said
Oh, they
that.
did.
Yeah, it was Final Fantasy X. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I kind of really didn't. The th- I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there are people out there who are crazy enough to do the non-spear grid run, like not use the spear grid at all and get through the game.
Yeah, you could do it. Because remember, while the sphere grid gave you all types of stat boosts and ultimate abilities, if you could get your hands on some of the best weapons in the game, it didn't matter.
Yeah,
Like good weapons, like if you managed to do like the little side quest that got Titus like the best sword in the game, or Yuna her best staff, or like the other characters Oron his best sword. It was like, well, shit. You're one shotting almost everything, and bosses become a joke at that point. So
um, uh, yeah, yeah. Dark Cloud, where your stats are mainly they're more tied to. We were focused more on upgrading your weapons than you are your overall character.
yeah, that was good. I got another one for you. The Fable series, where you don't actually level up. Instead, your soft skills, i.e., your swordsmanship, your weapon skills, go up from using the weapons. But if you want to like learn better magic and shit like that, you had to go to your sanctum and like upgrade those abilities. It's kind of interesting.
A lot of your MMOs, once you reach a level cap, now you have to figure out the only way to get stronger is through consumables and higher level gear.
Yep, yep. Or resetting your skill points and then respecking into a build that actually works for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough. Um, that's why I pretty much stay away from MMOs. I'm like, look, I can't be dealing with this shit right here.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of people not being able to deal with some shit, uh, hundreds of Q&A workers at ZeniMax, including Elder Scrolls Online ZeniMax Online Studios, are preparing to unionize. Woo, boy. Okay, so I'll read this, and you can give your takes after I'm done. File this one under reasons we can have nice things. QA workers at ZeniMax have announced they aim to unionize under the Communication Workers of America banner. They would represent around 300 QA workers from multiple titles and studios, including MMO, Elder Scrolls Online, ZeniMax Online Studios, and Fallout 76 Bethsoft. And they will be the first under Microsoft, meaning that if and when Activision Blizzard finally subsumed by Microsoft, the QA workers who unionized in 2022 at Blizzard, Albany, and Raven Software will be in good company alongside the ZeniMax QA union. ZeniMax Workers United tweeted that its goals are fair treatment for workers, wages commensurate with value provided, opportunities for advancement, accountability, transparency, and a voice in decision making regarding workload and scheduling. According to the group, Microsoft isn't interfering overtly or covertly, unlike Activision Blizzard, which spent the entire 2022 attempting to bust unions sprouting in its Tango Garden. This is a quote from someone who's at CWA. So far, Microsoft has remained committed to staying neutral throughout this process. As we vote for the next 4 weeks in our democratic election, we hope that you will support our journey towards building lasting, positive change for workers, gamers, and the industry as a whole. The CWA president, Chris Shelton, further stated that it applauds Microsoft for remaining neutral through the unionization process. The company is fulfilling the commitments they laid out in their labor principles earlier this year while sending a resounding message to the video game industry. The right to freely and fairly make a choice about union representation should be in the hands of the workers, not management. Voting will apparently take place over the next month, and if the union is successful, Microsoft will then presumably cooperate in recognizing it. The news comes just as Shelton penned an editorial in The Hill throwing the weight of the CWA behind the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard, specifically because of the pro-worker labor neutrality agreement it has negotiated with the company. Thanks to FTC Chair Lena Khan's leadership. God, who the fuck did anyone edit this shit before they submitted it? Leadership and the outreach and interest of the FTC staff, labor is now part of the national antitrust conversation, he wrote.
You know how it is these days. A lot of people can't write, but yet they have writing jobs.
Well, I mean, the thing is, even the best of writers should have someone look over their work. And if someone else isn't looking over your work, before you submit something, write it. Go do something else for like an hour, 2 hours. Come back, read what you wrote, and proofread what you wrote, and then make corrections.
I mean, this is not this is the other problem of the 24-hour news cycle is you got people that are just cranking things out.
Yeah, they don't have time to let stuff marinate and to proofread stuff. And plus, I mean, to be fair, like a lot of these online places fire their editors. Like they fire a lot of the workers. If you had people in your department who you would write an article and you would send it to them and they would proofread it, make the corrections, and then post it, and you fire the people who would proofread it and post it, that's more work for a smaller group of people. So clearly, you're not going to be able to do everything you want to do to make your stuff. But anyway, approving this merger with the labor agreement that we fashioned with Microsoft to protect collective bargaining rights would send a game-changing message to corporate America that workers do indeed have a seat at the table and their concerns matter and must be addressed. It's time to seal the deal, not blow it up. ZeniMax Workers United send this out. Today, we, a majority of QA workers at ZeniMax, are proud to announce the launch of our union with at CWA Union. We are the first group of workers at Microsoft to formally unionize. We are empowered to advocate for ourselves and build a future where we can thrive alongside the company.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they're unionizing. They should have done it years ago. Uh,
And I think the reason Microsoft isn't taking a neutral stance is, um, one, probably because they can afford it, and two, uh, they want to seem as they don't want to seem draconian at all with everybody, with Sony looking down
yeah.
the scope of their rifle, and you got
Well, especially when the
other
FTC and the
enti-
SEC are looking up saying, "Hey, you're trying to buy Activision Blizzard." They're
yeah,
already
you're a
under
little
a
too
microscope.
powerful, Microsoft. A
Yeah,
little too powerful.
yeah.
But
Microsoft is
yeah,
already under a microscope, so.
yeah, and that's why they kind of struck a deal with like, yeah, we're also going to support Call of Duty games for Nintendo for the next decade. So they can
Yeah,
kind
but
of,
that's just good business because what the Switch is 120 million units sold at this point.
yeah,
If you don't put Call of Duty on the Switch and Nintendo's next home console, you're just leaving money on the table. Which is why I never understood why Activision Blizzard stopped putting Call of Duty on other shit. It was just kind of like even a shitty version of Call of Duty would sell well to Nintendo gamers because Nintendo gamers, by and large, when it comes to third party, have no discerning features. They'll take anything as long as it's on their console of choice. You could shit in a box.
yeah,
It's like, hey, it's Pokemon Brown. We'll buy it.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, but yeah, it's and not to mention, they want to differentiate themselves from Activision Blizzard because, as we know, they were very draconian, especially was
And
it 2020 or
anti-union.
20 anti-union too.
Yeah.
So they don't
Yeah.
want to be like, yeah, we're just like Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, different tone, everything like that. The thing that gets me is when I hear workers say they're anti-union. I'm like, you do realize that a lot of things you take for granted, a 40-hour work week, paid sick days, paid leave, holidays off, all of that, you have all of that because of unions, right? It's like, actually having 2 days off during your work week, that's a union thing. Because if it was up to the owners and the people who own everything, they just work you until you were almost dead. You got to take a day off. Well, you lost that day of pay. Fuck you. Um,
Yeah,
and when you look at how shoddy some of the products coming out of ZeniMax and Bethesda have been, I'm surprised their workers haven't unionized years ago.
yeah,
I'm deeply surprised. Believe me, I am surprised.
yeah.
But anyway, let's keep it moving. Anything else you have to add before we move on to the next topic, sir?
Um, no, no, that's it.
All right, the next topic, Yuji Naka. Okay, Yuji Naka has been arrested again. Okay, so after getting out of jail the first time, he's been arrested again. Okay, so I'm going to read it. Former Sonic team and Sonic the Hedgehog programmer Yuji Naka has been arrested again due to alleged insider trading. Again. So basically, this time the arrest relates to potential insider trading related to confidential knowledge of mobile title Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier. According to a new report by Asahi, the developer, as well as former Square Enix employee Taisuke Sasaki, was arrested for allegedly investing in A-Team Entertainment based on non-public knowledge of Square Enix's future plans to work with the studio on the Final Fantasy mobile game. According to Asahi, it's claimed that Naka was made aware of Square's plans to develop the game with A-Team prior to its official announcement. Naka would then reportedly purchase around 120,000 shares in the company at a total price of around 144.7 million yen. $834,000. That's almost $1 million.
He's trying to pay for his kid's college and his retirement.
Yeah, I
So he's
think he
trying
was
to
trying to. He was trying to like this
That's what
is.
it seems
Oh
like.
shit, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of
Yeah,
money.
that's a lot of money. Somebody's going to jail for a while.
Yeah, it was alleged.
Somebody's gonna have to spend some time in the pokey.
Yeah, it was alleged. Well, he might beat it. He might beat it because they have to prove that he did it and that he had first time. Like it's harder to prove white collar crime than blue it's harder to prove white collar
You know,
crime than
petty,
blue
yeah, you
collar
know,
crime.
petty street crimes. Oh,
Yeah, now if
yeah.
he was busted selling weed, they throw the book at him. But insider trading for almost $1 million, probably do like 2 years. It was alleged at the time of his first arrest that Naka was also implicated in a similar scheme surrounding the mobile game Dragon Quest Tact, developed by Aiming. It's alleged that before Dragon Quest Tact was announced, Naka, who was working on Balin Wonderworld for the Square Enix at the time, purchased approximately 10,000 shares of Aiming stock for around $2.8 million, $20,000. In response to Naka's first, here's the thing: if all he did was that one, I think he might have been able to get out of it. But the whole $834,000, I'm like, God damn, dude, God damn, you can't stop fucking up, can you? In response to Naka's first arrest and that of former Square employees Taisuke Sasaki and Fumiaki Suzuki, the Final Fantasy publisher committed last month to working with authorities on the matter. Today, some media outlets reported that the former employees of Square Enix were under investigation for suspected insider trading, the statement read at the time. We have been fully cooperating with the request from the Security and Exchange Surveillance Commission. As the investigation by the Tokyo District Public Prosecutor's Office is underway, we will continue to fully cooperate with the investigation. We deeply regret the great concern this has caused to all concerned. We have dealt with this incident strictly, including internal disciplinary action taken against the suspected employees. That means there's more people who did shit they had no business doing, but it probably just kind of, fell on one group of people.
Yeah.
They probably fired two of them, but there's probably more people at the company. That's probably how they found out it was Yuji Naka. Is people said, you can either get fired to lose your job or you can tell us who you gave this information to. And it keeps on pointing back to these three people: Taisuke Suzuki, Fumiaki Suzuki, Taisuke Sasaki, Fumiaki Suzuki, and Yuji Naka. Oh boy. Oh Jesus. This is bad.
So,
That's bad.
um,
Like the 20,000 and been like, well, shit. Maybe he's a little bird whispered in the ear. 834,000. That's a little hard that's a little
nice
hard.
new,
Well, that's a
nice
little
new
hard to explain.
house.
What?
So that's a nice new house.
No, $834,000. $834,000, depending on where you're buying a house. That's not a house. That's like you bought the house and then you upgraded the shit out of everything there.
Yeah.
That's like that's like where I live. You could buy a nice condo for like $350. Not a great condo. It'd be kind of small, maybe 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a decent sized kitchen, maybe 1 floor. But that's you could buy 2 of them. If you
Yeah.
said cash, I will give you $650,000 cashier's check for 2 condos connected to each other. You buy both of them, you knock out that middle wall, you make it to 1 mega condo. You got a nice house with 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 2 big ass kitchens. Maybe you get rid of 1 kitchen, maybe turn that into an entertainment area, turn the other kitchen to a big ass kitchen. That's a lot of money. Because he bought those stocks. Once the stocks appreciated, he could have sold them and made even more money. Like 2.3, maybe 4 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Yuji Naka. Oh man, that's why you use shell companies to buy the stocks. You don't buy them yourself. You're not good at this. You're not good at being a criminal, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much how you do it.
Jesus. Did anyone watch any white collar crime shows? Even I know that. Anyway. Yeah, Yuji Naka done fucked up yet again. So, do you have any unpopular? So, anything else you want to add about Yuji Naka before we move on to the next topic, sir?
Um, yeah, I should have thought this. You should have thought this out a little bit more. I know he wanted to make probably make up for lost time at Square Enix, but
Well, money,
yeah,
lost money.
lost money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dang. Well, 600 days in the pokey. Good luck.
Maybe
Uh,
he might beat it.
yeah, it's always a possibility. Cause it's not like he's had past criminal it's had past criminal behavior. So I don't know how Japanese law is. They might let him off
Japanese
easy.
law is like this. It's like they would rather their prosecution system would rather plead a case down if they don't think they can get. They don't want to go to trial because if they go to trial and lose, it's going to make the lawyer look bad. Just like lawyers here, they would rather plead than go to trial and have a chance of losing because it fucks up their
Yeah,
conviction rate. So if they don't think they can get a conviction, what they'll probably do is say, "Look, we got a mountain of evidence that you did this, and if you take this, if you take the plea, like we'll probably say you can't do this, and this, and you'll do like 5 years probation."
yeah, yeah. Probably.
It's just, did you think we live in a world where Yuji Naka, the one of the creators of Sonic the Hedgehog, would be doing insider trading? Did we
Yeah,
see this shit? I mean,
that's a pretty that's pretty crazy.
5 years ago, someone said, "Hey,
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll find out that Miyamoto did tax evasion next month.
I mean, it would be at this point, it would be more likely. I could at least understand that. I'd be like, hey, I didn't want to pay more taxes. Okay, I can understand that. It's like,
I hear it can be pretty expensive to live in Japan. I'm sure their taxes are pretty crazy. So
I mean, shit. Taxes in any first world country, if you're in a major metropolis, which I don't know where Shigeru Miyamoto lives, I'm pretty sure he probably commutes to work. I'm pretty sure he doesn't live in the city,
I
or
was
at
gonna
least,
say,
you know,
isn't Nintendo based in Kyoto?
yeah. But that just because, man, people commute in
Yeah,
Japan.
I
They
guess I
don't. Most people don't live.
don't live in the city.
They don't live in the city.
In
No,
the city.
no.
Yeah,
But I mean, I can at least I didn't want to pay all. Look, I make $200,000 a year. I mean, he probably makes more than that now, considering he's like on the executive board. But I make more than $200,000 a year, and these taxes take my check down to like 130. So I just kind of I wanted to at least make 170. Like I can understand that. I'm like, it's not right, but I can understand it. But I mean, goddamn, this dude spent almost $1 million.
yeah.
Almost 1 million. Like I'm like, God damn, Naka, Jesus, you done fucked up, Naka.
Yeah, that's crazy. I should play the Sonic Game Over music. Be pretty fitting. Are you still there?
I'm still there.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's just my opinion. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I think. But
yeah.
anyway, that's my opinion, and that's just what I think. Do you have any?
No, I'm good.
All right, then I guess it's time for us to. God damn. I guess it's time for us to talk about our unpopular opinions and pimp out our platforms. So, do you have an unpopular opinion about video games that you wish to share, or just pop culture in general?
Um, no, I don't have one. I don't have an unpopular opinion this week. Uh, yeah, say yours first, and I'll think of one. I'll probably possibly think of one.
All right. Um. Okay, I have two unpopular opinions. The first one is about Red Dead Redemption 2. And the first Red Dead Redemption. You want to know why Red Dead Redemption didn't do well, and it underperformed for Rockstar for by their estimation. I mean, I think that game sold like 20 million units, so it wasn't a failure, but it just wasn't like they were trying to compare that to GTA, which is not a fair comparison whatsoever. It's like comparing a basketball an average basketball player to a LeBron James, a Larry Bird, a fucking Michael Jordan, a Scottie Pippen, a Magic Johnson, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a Wilt Chamberlain. It's like, no, you're not at that level. You're just the
Yeah.
average dude. What the fuck you think you're gonna do, Bill Russell? Um. So with that being said, um, functionally speaking, here's all I'm gonna say. Red Dead Redemption failed because Red Dead Redemption is not a fun game. Um,
Um,
it's the type of game that, like, everything is designed to just feel tedious. You've got to clean your gun because realism. It just everything has to be realistic and tedious. I think that the Red Dead, like if Rockstar ever makes a Red Dead 3, they need to, instead of trying to make it realistic, they need to pattern it after the Man with No Name trilogy or the Dollar, aka the Dollars trilogy, like spaghetti westerns where the West is this stylized, ultra dirty, Sergio Leone style world. Get some good music in there, like from Ennio Morricone, and yeah, just do that. Stop trying to tell a serious, dark and gritty story. Just fucking have a nameless gunslinger come into town where two warring gangs are holding the town hostage, and the gunslinger has to use their cunning to outwit these two sides and make them take each other out. That's all we need. Stop trying to tell these deep. Oh, well, the first Red Dead Redemption is about the wages of sin, and the second Red Dead is about making things right before you die. It's like, man, stop with all this serious shit. It's a video game. God damn it.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, um,
Yeah, I mean that's funny. It's kind of funny because when I was younger, I was like, man, I wish games like more realistic. But as I've gotten older, it's like I kind of like the nonsense. I like the nonsensical nature of the video games, especially like the more unrealistic stuff, more so than I like the realism stuff, because a lot of the realism stuff takes itself way too seriously, and it just comes off as try hard.
yeah, yeah, they do try too hard. Like the problem with Rockstar, I think, with a lot of their games is that like Rockstar was at their best when they were just making parodies of pop culture in their games. Like GTA 3 is a parody of gangster films of the 90s, like modern gangster films of their time in the 90s. GTA Vice City is a parody of Scarface and Miami Vice. Which was like something of the 80s, like the early 80s, the coked up 80s. And GTA's San Andreas is a parody of like the hood gangster film in black plight hood gangster film of the late 80s early 90s, and that's what makes it fun and enjoyable. It's like, oh, this is ridiculous. um And then GTA 4, they're like, we're going to tell a serious story about immigrants. I'm like, fuck this. I don't want serious in a video game. Stop taking yourself so seriously. I just want to drive around, buy some property, fly an airplane, jump out, do enough
Yeah.
side missions to become a pimp so that when I pick up a hooker, she pays me. That's all I want. Why do you have to make this complicated? Stop trying to get all serious and shit. It's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. And Rockstar's been like that for the past,
10 years?
like 10 years.
Yeah.
They're,
Well, before that, like 15, because it started with GTA 4.
yeah, yeah, yeah. GTA 4 took itself, it took itself too seriously. Um, I think there's just people that are in charge of these companies or go to make video games that just like want the medium to be taken seriously, like music and movies. It's like I don't want video games to be like music and movies. I want
Yeah,
video games to be like video games.
yeah. Um,
And it's okay that they're not taken as seriously as maybe those other mediums. It's like I've been cool with that for a while. It's like I'm not, you know, I don't like stuff because it's popular or because everybody else likes it. Like it because well I like it.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't like things because they're popular or not popular. If because there's shit that I like that's popular, but I don't like it because it's popular. I like it, and it just happens to also be popular.
Oh yeah, yeah, I actually agree with that. I
Like
agree
I
with that.
love
Yeah,
Chinese, I love Japanese food, and Korean barbecue. Korean barbecue where I live is really fucking popular. I love Korean
yeah,
barbecue. It's so fucking delicious. It's really fucking good. Love it. Um, but I don't like it because everyone's like, you need to go there. I like it because it's fucking delicious.
yeah,
But anyway, ah, anything else? Any other unpopular? Oh, second unpopular opinion. My second unpopular opinion. I'm about to say something that's gonna make people angry, but I don't really care. Um, or maybe it might not be. Maybe people will agree with me. Um, I think that there needs to be a. I wouldn't be disagreeable with. I wouldn't be disagreeable with companies charging more for their games if they included more shit with their games. Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay. If Nintendo said we'll charge you $90 for a game, but it includes a color booklet, it includes the soundtrack with the game, and maybe like some other bennies. It's not a special edition. It's just a better version of the game you're getting.
yeah,
And this is all these companies. Like we want to charge $70. I don't mind you charging more, but you can't charge me more and give me the same substandard shit you've been giving me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, um, and companies need to stop announcing season passes like right before the game comes out because that's just. Man, I understand doing it like 2 or 3 months after the game's released, but like, yeah, and then it's like, yeah, pre-order our next game that we've announced, 3 to 6 months in advance. Well, that we announced the release date 3 to 6 months in advance, and also pre-order our season pass. It's like it's like either just you know make the game like $70, $80 or keep it moving because I've always found that annoying. I know that they've been doing it for years. I still find that annoying.
I, like I said, I'm not against them raising the prices. I'm against them raising the price and giving me less quality, like a lower quality product.
Yeah.
That bothers me. Like here's the thing: if you're gonna charge me more, if someone says, "Hey, uh, in order for you, like you used to come to our restaurant and you would get an entree, an appetizer, and a drink, and that would be like $15. We're gonna raise it to 20, but 20 so that we can give you better service. We can pay our servers more. And like you notice when you go there, the servers like they have more servers. The servers are more attentive. They're more on point. Then I don't mind paying the extra money because I'm getting better service. But these
Yeah.
companies are like, we're gonna charge you more for the same shit service you've been giving me.
Yeah.
I'm not cool with that. But that's my own personal opinion. Do you have any unpopular opinions, hot takes, anything you want to add before we wrap things up, sir?
No,
All
I'm
right,
good.
that's the end of the podcast. Pimp out your platform, Kenoshi.
Project Console podcast or yeah, yeah, Project Console podcast. Tuesday is 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.
All right, it's Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. Thank you for joining this cast. We didn't go as long as we normally do, but we also started a little bit early, and plus it's just the two of us. So with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. If you want to get in touch with the channel, you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster at gmail.com. Or you can also join our Discord server, um, which is always fun. So that being said, just a general overview of the channel. The channel, we talk about video games, pop culture, all that type of stuff. Occasionally we'll delve into other things, but mostly it's video games and pop culture and movies. So with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. We have a podcast every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. to typically 9 o'clock, but sometimes we end earlier. Sometimes we go later. It depends on what the topics are available. With that being said, that's in the cast. Peace. Like I said, rate, comment, share. Hit that bell icon to be notified when we have new casts coming up. I'm in the process right now, since my schedule has changed, of I'm going to start streaming for like an hour, maybe an hour or two during the week. Uh, so look forward to that. But peace. Good night.